Welcome back to Bulgaria and welcome back to Bdin Vidin in our Football Manager 24 Build a Nation save, where we currently find ourselves in phase 4 of our journey to become the number 1 ranked nation in Europe, having completed phases 1, 2 and 3 on our journey so far.
Yes, that's right guys, welcome back to the final episode of Season 5. It's the Championship group today, where hopefully we can actually qualify for European competition. Last season we struggled in the Championship group against the big teams, it must be said, but we're in a better place ourselves this season and hopefully European competition is going to follow. I think the best place to start though is let's have a look at what's actually happened since the last time you were with us, and we'll start off with the first 4 games of the Championship group. We kicked off our Championship group in Bulgaria at home to Bdin Vidin, and we played particularly well. Unfortunately, we bottled it. We went 1-0 up through Ilyas Hamash in the 14th minute. Barkok made it 2 just 3 minutes later, but unfortunately we couldn't hold on to it, and we allowed Bdin back into the game, obviously scoring 2 goals and getting a 2-2 draw there. We were much better in possession, we had more clear-cut chances, they had more shots though, better XG as well. It was disappointing to drop the points in our race to catch Levski in second, of course, but a good performance from Ilyas Hamash on that left-hand side. Terziev with a throw and Opti heads it on, hits the back of Barkok and Hamash smashes it in before Marcos finds Cabral on the right-hand side. Cabral checks back onto his left foot, finds Marcos again, pulls it across for Barkok. Next up we took on Lokomotiv Plovdiv away from home, and we did it again in this game. We took the lead through Jensa Kies in injury time at the end of the first half. Kenan Mulangu made it 2 after 71 minutes, but unfortunately we did concede 2 goals again for the game to go to 2-2 through Yordanov and Andreev. But thankfully we got the winner in this one. Marwan Opati popped up in the 87th minute to give us the win basically. We were not at our best in this game, shall we say. We did again have more of the ball. Lokomotiv had more shots than us though, unfortunately, and we've not done particularly well defensively in this one. Hamash on the left-hand side pulls the ball back for Faucher, gets it back. Hamash again finds Kies on the edge of the area, deflected and in. Hamash with the corner from the left towards Diogo Silva at near post. Faucher keeps it alive, finds Mulangu, and it's a good finishing at that near post. And then Blagievich with some work down the right-hand side finds Marcos, who gets the ball across towards Opati, sweeps it past the keeper. Into game 3 then, and away to CSK 1948. A little bit of a better performance in this one. Getting the draw though against 1948. Obviously we're losing ground in our fight for second with Levski Sofia at this stage. You may remember last season we struggled in the Championship group as well, and it appears to be the same this season. You can see on the right hand side though just how tired our players are coming to this final part of the season. Massive rotation, including Joe making an appearance. Possibly his last appearance for the club. He's not very good, is Joe, unfortunately. The first time I've ever had a son in Football Manager, and he's rubbish basically, unfortunately for Joe. So we may look to move him on in the summer. But the goal came from Marwan Opati. Again, Bora picking up the Man of the Match award with 4 key passes in this one. Another poor result though. Stoilov finds Blagievich. Back to Liber. Liber on the right hand side to Bora. First time pass for Opati and a great finish. In the 4th game though, Levski Sofia came up to Vidin to face Bdin, and we kept our second place hopes alive with this game. Marwan Opati scores for the 3rd game in a row. We outperformed Levski Sofia, particularly going forward and with the ball at our feet, and it was a very, very good performance, and we've narrowed that gap back down to Levski Sofia to the point where we could still overtake them and get Champions League football next season, which would be absolutely fantastic. And some good pressing on the Levski defence here. Cabral pinching the ball, finds Bora again, finds Opati, and he makes it 3 games in a row. So, Championship group wise, again guys, it's not been great from a Bdin point of view, but we are in the mix, you know. But in between those Championship group games, we also had the Cup final, which is another potential route into Europe should we have done really poorly in the Championship group like we did last season. And it was actually very, very good. So an absolutely crazy game saw us beat Ludogorets Razgrad 3-1 after extra time in the Cup final. The Kupa now Bulgaria The final, it's the first time in Bdin's history that we've ever won it. It was 0-0 going into extra time, and then it just happened. The craziness just happened. Abraham Marcus put us ahead in the 117th minute from the penalty spot. We then made it 2 through Panache Mutombanyoko in the 119th minute, before Owusu got one back for Ludogorets in the 121st minute, but we made short of the victory. Burakovic in the 123rd minute, and we finally won a trophy with some meaning, really, in Bulgaria. It's taken us 5 seasons to get to this point, which tells you kind of how difficult the task that we've had in Bulgaria has been so far, particularly against teams like Ludogorets, Razgrad, with the players that they can sign compared to little old Bdin. It's a great achievement. So after a crazy game, Bdin Vidin finally pick up a major piece of silverware in Bulgaria, beating Ludogorets Razgrad after extra time with a 3-1 victory. So with all that being said, guys, we're coming to the final game of Season 5, and we are away to Ludogorets Razgrad. There is still obviously something to play for, like we've just seen there in the league table. We could overtake Levski Sofia and get into second place. We've already got European competition next season. We've seen that from winning in the cup final, but it's a Europa League place. Second place would get us into the Champions League, which is obviously worth much more money to us. So hopefully we can do the business here against Ludogorets, and Levski slip up. That would be ideal. In terms of the lineup that we're going to go for today, though, we continue with Gunnarsson in goal. 32 appearances, 33 conceded with 10 clean sheets. Good season for the Icelandic. Right back for today is going to be Jarno Liebert, and that's because we have an injury to Kies, who would normally play there at right back. You can see that that Jarno is leaving. He's joining Spartak Varna at the end of the season when his contract does expire. He's definitely helped us get to where we need to be, but obviously we're looking forward now. Nick Mokabakila as the right-sided centre-half. He's had a fantastic season here for us at Bdin. It's a shame that he's going to go back to Monaco at the end of the season. They probably won't loan him back to us, so we're going to have to do some work there in the summer. Left-sided centre-half is our 22-year-old Brazilian record signing who has had a really good season on a 6.95. He's made 28 appearances for the club. He is still improving. Is he going to improve enough to the point where he's going to command a place, you know, in the next couple of seasons for us? We'll have to wait and see. And at left back is the Bosnian Zvezdan Burakovic, slightly aging now. You can see that his attributes, particularly his physicals, are starting to decline a little bit, but he's definitely had a good season for us and he's helped put us where we are. Into the midfield, and we have Marco Bettini, the 25-year-old Italian, who's been fantastic since he's come in with 3 goals in his 13 appearances, a 6.93 rating. Definitely a good signing. Pape Cabral is the centre mid on attack today. Again, has had a really good season for us, a 6.89 in the league, 5 goals and 3 assists as well. He's definitely chipped in and helped out. And one who I'm sorry to see leave at the end of the season and go back to Monaco. I've already tried to reloan him, but it's not going to happen, and that is Christophe Fauci. He's had a fantastic season with a 7 rating, 6 goals, 4 assists in his 29 starts, improving massively as well. He's definitely going to be a good player in the future for some team, maybe not Monaco standard, maybe somebody else slightly lower down the pyramid in France, but definitely a good player. He's out of our price range, so, you know, he's not going to come back to Bdin, let's put it that way. On the left-hand side of the attacking three is Ilyas Hamash. He's had a fantastic start to life here in Bulgaria, a 7.32 rating across his 10 games with 4 goals and 5 assists. He's been a great signing as the 25-year-old Algerian. On the right-hand side, we have Amal Bora. He's in for the injured Syrikos. Syrikos has actually got a little bit of an injury at the minute, but Bora has done great when he's played. A 7 average rating across his 10 starts, 8 substitutes appearance, 4 goals, 3 assists. Again, another good player. And then up top, we've got Marwan Opati, who has, once again, towards the latter half of the season, found his goal-scoring form. You can see in his last 10 games, he's got 4 goals and 2 assists, 7 in all of his 10 starts for his 7.21 average rating. So there we are, guys. Let's get into the final game of Season 5. Right, potentially a massive game here. We need the win if we're going to get into second place in the table. We've conceded a penalty inside the first 4 minutes, though, which is not going to help things. Oh, God. Do you guys want to come back in a minute when it's... just skip forward 30 seconds. We might have had a decision by then. It's a penalty. Yeah, so we have conceded a penalty inside the first 4 minutes, which is not a really good start to a must-win game for us if we want to get into the Champions League. It's going to be Wout Weghorst to take the penalty. Gunnarsson saved it, but Weghorst has put the rebound in. Oh, I thought Gunnarsson, good save, my man, but Weghorst the first one to get to the rebound. It's a great save from Gunnarsson. Just too slow to react, and Weghorst fires into the roof of the net. Levski Sofia a drawing as well against CSKA 1948. They've taken the lead, so it doesn't really matter anyway. It doesn't really matter what we're doing anyway. Right, Bdin on the ball. Opt finds Burakovic. Gives it straight to Tekpeti, though. Gets it back off his teammate. Tekpeti into the penalty area. Through the legs of the defender, and he's had the shot, but Gunnarsson's made another good save. Moka Bakila. We somehow managed to scramble the ball away. Not quite sure what happened there, but still, Ludogorets coming forward. They want revenge for us to what happened in that cup final. And Gaetano to take this corner on the right-hand side for Ludogorets. Towards that near post, and Weghorst gets his head to it, but it's gone just over the bar. Ludogorets, again, the only team posing any real danger in this game. We do somehow manage to scramble the ball away, though. It's come as far as Zerbin. Back down the line to Gaetano, surely offside. Ludogorets is sort of toying with us now, really, aren't they? They've maybe a little bit of complacency in that cup final, and they've realised that we're not a team to be messed with anymore, and they're putting on a show for us in this game, and that's obviously reflected in the match stats where they're absolutely dominating us, dominating the ball, and Weghorst has got his second of the season now. It's his second of the game, his 31st of the season for Wout Weghorst. And that's quite a poor first half in the grand scheme of things, guys. We have been absolutely appalling. We've also picked up an injury there to Marwan Obati. So we might get Panache on for his final appearance for the club in the second half. And now into that second half we go, guys, where hopefully we can actually put up something of a fight against Ludogorets. We've been really poor so far. Thankfully, we're safe in third place in the table. So even if we hadn't won the cup, we would still be going into that Europa League. But it is still Ludogorets applying the pressure. Gaetano with the corner again towards that near post. They've got the head on it again. We're just not defending very well at all. Levski go 2-0 up against CSK 1948. So regardless of whether we beat Ludogorets or not in this game, we would have been in third position. Right, finally, can we get a highlight here for Bdin? Are we coming forward? Cabral with the ball, feeds it forward towards Bora, who has the effort. It's deflected in off Hamash. She's offside. We'll get obviously the VAR check. Of course, we're going to go get that VAR check, guys. Why wouldn't we? But it's I could see it was offside. And we have had the ball in the back of the net with our first meaningful highlight going forward, but unfortunately it's not going to count. He's in a different postcode, guys. Right, we've made a couple of changes there. We've been poor, particularly down the wings. We are extremely tired as well, as you can see from the players. We're into the final 10 minutes of the season. It's Moka Bakila with the ball. Can we go out with something? Please, something, so we're not going out with a whimper. Panache doesn't quite win it back in midfield. It falls at the feet of Zerbin, but Marcus steps in, does really, really well. Finds Panache into Cabral. Cabral back to Marcos, the former Ludogorets player. Panache has the effort. It's a good save by the goalkeeper. We're still on the ball here. We've given it away to Ronald, and now it's Weghorst on a hat-trick. He's tackled well, though, by Bettini. Burakovic with this corner towards that penalty spot area. Falls at the feet of Marcus, who has the effort. He's desperate to score against his former club. And as the full-time whistle goes, guys, that was a little bit of a poor result. We've gone out with a whimper there, really, haven't we? And that... We're getting to the point now where we need to start challenging Ludogorets for the title, and that's not going to happen with games like that, is it? So, guys, this is how the final table finishes. We finish in third position on 70 points. It's 2 points a game, which is good. We've still 16 points behind Ludogorets, but we give Levski a real push for the money this time. Unfortunately, Levski did get into that Champions League spot we have to settle for a Europa League spot, which is still good. Bear in mind, a couple of seasons ago we were newly promoted to the second tier of Bulgaria, so we are, we're getting there. It's maybe a little bit slower than I would have liked, but 70 points is a big improvement. We finished on 55 last season, so it's 15 points better off than we were last season. A couple of positions better off as well, which is great, and I'm looking forward to Europe next season. So then, guys, with the season coming to an end, it's time to have a quick look over of the end of season review and see exactly who performed particularly well for us. It's been a very, very good season, lifting 2 cup trophies. We've managed to get Bdin Vidin into Europe, which is really, really good, and it's only going to make this save better going forward. Once we've got European competition, we can actually finally start to help the other Bulgarian teams build the nation. So it was a busy season in the transfer market, and it's safe to say there was some good business done in bringing in key new signings who contributed hugely to the season's success. The star signing being listed as Diogo Silva, our record signing, 5.75k from Retro. The Brazilian has done particularly well. He's got a B+ rating from the board, which is good. He's made 34 appearances, a 6.98 average rating, but in our poor defence is again reasonably good. You can also see we've got Ilyas Hamash there, who's done exceptionally well since he's come in halfway through the season. Opat's actually scored some goals for us this season. Faucher, I'd really like to try and keep Faucher going into next season as well. In terms of the transfers out, they weren't particularly pleased with me with some of them. You can see there we've got an E for Palacios. Now, Palacios was a very good player for us, don't get me wrong, but his contract was coming to an end. I didn't want to re-sign his contract because I see that as a sideways step, whereas we need to be moving forward now. We also moved on Lisa Gang. Again, he was not a great player for us. Borisov, we signed Borisov when we were in the second tier, so it was time to get rid of him. The big one, of course, was Amanovic, and it set us up financially for the season. And then Bilal Bashikoglu has also left for a small fee. He didn't really feature too much for us. He had that long-term injury as well. In terms of loans out, we did send out some of our younger players to obviously get them some game experience. El Maghrabi went out on loan. His contract's expiring again. Sideways step, looking to re-sign him, so he's leaving at the end of the season. Carlos Gallego is actually a very, very good player, and he could possibly feature for us next season. He could definitely feature for us next season. A lot of those players there, though, the contracts are expiring. Aita Paredes has got a clause in his loan where he will have to sign him. Nedenov's contract's expiring. Velichkov is our young goalkeeper. He only made 3 appearances for Pirin Blavrogad, but he is one who can definitely help us out in the future. So in terms of the season results, you can see that we did finish in a 3rd position. We've already been over this, of course. It doesn't actually show the championship phase in this little screen here for whatever reason. But we are cup champions in both the cups in Bulgaria, beating Ludogorets in both the finals. So it has been a very, very successful season. Obviously, the moments to remember were the big 6-0 win over Belisica. We actually got that on Livecom. Match to remember, a 3-1 win over CSKA Sofia, with Palacios being sent off in the 41st minute. That was a very, very good result. And the goal of the season came from Burakovic, which obviously we've seen throughout the highlights package through the season. In terms of financially, reputation-wise, it says the club's reputation has not changed, but these season's reviews happen before the end of the season, before the reputations do change, so take that with a pinch of salt. No new sponsorship deals this year, but we did have one at the end of last year, which our sponsorship has gone up drastically. It's almost double. Broadcast revenue slightly down, but corporate hospitality, competition prize money have all gone up. Matchday commercial is around about the same. 687 shirts sold, Hamash selling the most. And then we have the team of the season. It says that we rotate the team a fair amount this season. However, our key players played a major role in how the season turned out. Obviously, we've got Gunnarsson in goal, Kies, Diogo Silva, Mokabakila and Burakovic as the back 4, Bettini, Faucher, Cabral, Sirikos, Palacios and Opati. In terms of the player awards and record breakers, fans player of the season was Klimis Sirikos with a 7.3 rating, young player of the season as well, signing of the season Diogo Silva, goal of the season from Burakovic, top goal scorer throughout all competitions was Opati, Most assists came from Syracuse. He also picked up the most man of the match awards and the highest average rating. And the most passes completed per 90 was Diogo Silva. In terms of records, Syracuse now holds the records for the most assists at the club. Gunnarsson, most clean sheets at 11, which is actually not a bad season for Gunnarsson. Obviously, player of the match is Syracuse. Highest transfer fee paid, we already know, is Diogo Silva, and then Alexa Amanovic as the highest transfer fee received. So, there we go, guys. End of the season. Your hard work and effort paid off on the pitch, and such a feat didn't go unrewarded at the end of our season's award ceremony. We were also given our new budgets for the season, and it's a massive increase. We're up to 43.5k per week and £205,000 transfer budget. Now, obviously, it's still not Ludogorets levels, but it is a big step in the right direction as far as bidding are concerned. It just means we can sign some much better players, really, and hopefully boost us up the league. So that leaves us with just one thing left to do this season, guys, and that is have a look at how the other clubs in Bulgaria did in Europe and how it's affected the coefficients. We'll start with Ludogorets. Razgrad, they did qualify for the Champions League phase, the full proper competition. They were beaten by Bayern Munich, draws with Rennes and Dynamo Kyiv, lost to Newcastle. They did beat Slovan Bratislava and Sporting, but then losses to Inter and Chelsea. So, good there from Ludogorets, obviously being in that Champions League phase. They didn't qualify for the latter stages, unfortunately, but that's still going to be some good coefficient points for the Bulgarian champions. Next up, we have Levski Sofia, and it's actually quite poor from Levski Sofia. They were in the Conference League qualifiers, and they didn't make it past the third round, unfortunately. They were knocked out by Trenchin after beating Kabala in the second round. That's quite poor from a Levski Sofia point of view. We also had CSK 1948 Sofia. They were in the Europa League qualifiers where they did get through the first qualifying round, knocked out in the second round, unfortunately, which dropped them into the Conference League, where they did pick up results against Omonoia and Banik Ostrava, which meant they qualified for the full competition there in the Europa Conference League, with wins over HJK being the only one, really, and getting a draw with Hajduk Split, losing all the other games. So again, not particularly great from a CSK 1948 point of view. And finally, we have CSK Sofia, again, into the Conference League qualifiers. They beat Koups in the second round. Somehow managed to get a win against FC Midtjylland as well, but unfortunately they were beaten by Istanbul Başakşehir in the fourth qualifying path, so they didn't actually qualify for the competition. So again, not great from a CSK Sofia point of view. So what that does in terms of coefficients this season, guys, is actually, compared to the last couple of seasons, it's not the greatest. They've picked up 7.25 points this season. However, we are losing a 4.5 off the beginning, the 22-23 one there you can see is a 4.5. So it is a slight improvement. We're currently at 39. We'll be going up to 41.75. But there is a nation below us in Denmark who will be going above us. And we're not really higher than anybody in front of us. So it does actually look like we're about to lose a place in the coefficients, which fortunately doesn't affect the qualifying spots. So now that we're into Europe, hopefully we can start to help the other teams improve upon what they're doing. We'll get some finances in. We can start a loan farm going in a couple of seasons' time when we do have the finances. First of all, we have to become the biggest club in Bulgaria, and obviously overthrowing Ludogorets, it is still going to be quite difficult. They are a massive, massive club, but hopefully now that we are in Europe, financially, we can be much better off. We can start bringing some better players in. I can start scouting further as well. Start looking for some wonder kids. You know, I'm going to have to, now that we're in Europe, start concentrating on homegrown players as well. But that does bring an end to the season, guys. Season 5 wrapped up. Now, obviously, we've got season 6 to do. We've got some work to do during the pre-season to get some players in and hopefully help us out in European competitions. We're into the Europa League, remember, into the playoff qualifiers with the position that we've qualified in. So we do still have to try and qualify. Hopefully we get a favourable draw in that and we don't come up against one of the big boys. That would be really nice to actually qualify for the competition. But a very successful season from a bidding point of view. And I'll see you all at the start of Season 6, guys. So until then, thank you for watching. And I'll see you later.